I don't like using the word rebrand, but you can't sort of think of anything else. What will make teaching so attractive that any of our children will say,
I want to be a teacher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to take those qualities, package them, for lack of a better word, and begin to make it really attractive. And one of the things I've noticed since I've been engaged in education, that a lot of young people are willing to be teachers. I actually interviewed someone recently who went and actually did education in university, very articulate, but she works in an oil company now. She said she wants to work first with an oil company so that people won't think that she couldn't do anything else, and that's why she's a teacher. That's a mindset.
Oh, you're a teacher because you can't get any other job.
Thank you. So she wants to prove by working in an oil company for about 5 years that I can do something else. Now I'm ready to be a teacher. How can we get people like that to take the decision to be a teacher? So one of the outcomes, because of what Kayode said, one of the outcomes from this summit is to have post-summit initiatives that we believe will take us to the next level. And one of it is Teach for Nigeria. How can we rebrand the teaching profession? And we're hoping that out of this summit, we'll be able to launch a pilot that will work, that we can replicate and take across the nation in due course.
But the government itself needs to take leadership here. Because, yes, I don't want to be a teacher because I teach in very decrepit environment. The children that I'm trying to teach can't concentrate because they're not even sitting on desks. And there's so many things that challenge me as a teacher that it doesn't give any respect to my profession. So the government itself has got to take that initiative and say, we must give schooling, education, and teaching pride of place. And that begins to tie in with the budget allocation that we put into education. And if education is important to us, that it must be shown in the prioritization that we put in for funding education. So it's where the government itself places education as something that is so key.
Exactly. I was going to, sorry, before you go, I was going to ask you that question and you came up with the answer, but to add to it, you were reading my mind, Mr. Phillips.
No, you for too long.
Now, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking the one to do with agriculture, it was obvious that the heart and the mind of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Minister of Agriculture is into agriculture and agribusiness. And that encouraged the involvement of government in last year's summit and the success of it. This year, what has been the response of the federal government on the issue of education, considering where we are, because it's not a success story. Agriculture was the success story, but with education,
right. Yes, I was going to say that we found that last year we were literally celebrating the implied turnaround that we were achieving with agriculture, the transformation that was taken with agriculture. And we've all said it, that, you know, we've got a fantastic agricultural minister who's putting his heart, body, mind, and soul into the job that he has. And he's been turning things around. People have gotten excited, and there have been very, very positive results, and things are moving in that direction. But we're saying that, look, how can we do the same thing with education? Education is on the other side of the spectrum, in the sense that it's not doing well. It's bad news. But we've proven that if we concentrate, as the NESG, on one subject matter and raise the issues, then maybe we can get enough critical mass and enough momentum going to get people to pay attention and say, you know what, let's begin to deal with this. That's the first. The second thing is that let's not fool ourselves. You do need the leadership. You do need the person who would take this thing on and say, yep, I'm going to move ahead with this. I have the knowledge, the skills, the capability to move and define education. Maybe get Alero to go and do that job. You know, so that
that's Alero.
But that's just the main thing, that, you know, education now, we're in trouble. It's not going to help us to, the state that it's in now will not allow us to achieve the things that we want to do in the future. And yet we keep on saying that, okay, Africa's the next place, Nigeria is leading Africa, but it's not going to happen unless people can deliver. And don't forget, we're talking about the future. If 10, 15 years from now we don't get our education right, we will not have the ability to deliver what it is that Nigeria wants to do. And you can't throw money at it. Just, you know, it's not how much money you throw at it. It's, do you have the people that will translate that funding into a reality. As we stand today, we don't. Nigeria, if we are truly to develop, and I'm talking about physical development, I go on and on about this, that the stage that we are in our life cycle as a country is one that needs physical development. Your roads, your bridges, your hospitals, your physical things. And if we don't get people that can build physically, if we don't get all our engineers and our technicians and those people that can use their hands, we're not going to be able to create the country that we need. We'll have a lot of grammar going on, a lot of GDP figures, a lot of statistics and data and so on. But the roads aren't going to be built, the power stations aren't going to be built, and the ones that you build, nobody's going to be able to maintain them. And we're back to square one.
Mr. Phillips, as you're speaking, my mind is going back to something which was shown on TV, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, some school in some part of Lagos, and I saw the nature of the desks. Some of them had no chairs. Some of the students were sitting on windowsills. And I'm saying, there must be thousands and thousands of schools like this in Nigeria.
Of course they are.
So where does the transformation start? When I think of my desk when I was in Holy Child College, I mean, a classroom like that now would look like a classroom in the UK. Yeah. Fans and everything, well ventilated. Each student had a chair. There were only 25 of us in the classroom. I mean, that now is so far back in memory that it's like, that was in my other life.
You're talking about secondary school. How about the universities?
The conditions.
It's unbelievable. And the things that if we train our children in that environment, how on earth do we want them to train others? And how on earth do we want them to be global?
Turn out
to be. Yeah. And so when you begin to suffer from all these low-level and non-achieving status, it's the way they've been brought up. They've been raised to know nothing else but what they present. So the transformation must happen.
This around?
On the multiplier effect of some of these things. For instance, technical and vocation is almost nil.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the critical mass of people who really can use their hands to get things done. Now we have a situation where foreigners are becoming masons. Foreigners are doing the carpentry work that needs to be done, some of the plumbing and all that. That's like the lowest low that we can go. So frankly, for me as a person, we really should declare a state of emergency when it comes to education. Because even when you have the money, it's not something you can do overnight. Look at the issue of teachers. There are many teachers who honestly cannot read and write perfectly. Now, because they just find it a convenient point of departure to earn a living. As far as they're concerned, it's just a way to earn whatever they need to earn. It's not about the future of the child or, or the emancipation of the country.
What are they teaching?
Nothing, frankly. And I was also going to point that some of I think there are, flickers of hope in some states, I won't name names, where they seem to have prioritized education. You can see a turnaround because they know it's a fundamental problem. And it has to be a holistic approach in terms of, one, correcting the attitude and the orientation of the teachers. You have to fill the gaps, the skills gap that they lack. You have to treat them well. They have, like you said, ma'am, to be the light, the candle, in the society. You have to look at the issue of infrastructure, and not just for today. How do you manage infrastructure for education in a way that's sustainable? That over a period of time, that thing can be regenerated. You have a way of managing those resources of that infrastructure in such a way that by the time it times out, there's a replenishment. So it's not like, okay, you have good desks for 5 years, and then what happens when they start going bad? You have to look at the issue of curricula. And now there's a great deal of disjoint in terms of what people learn and the kind of aptitude that they come up with. We have a lot of students, a lot of graduates from university today that you can't employ. Some of them, most of them can't speak good English. In fact, many of them have absolutely no ambition. They just went through a brick and mortar for 4 years, and they come out and they're just wandering around. It's really bad. It's really,
and
really
they would not have any ambition, because it's like, well, what on earth am I going to university for? Because I'm not going to get a job. There's no work out there. There's nothing that's really motivating me. What will motivate me for me to know that, you know what, if you go in there, get a damn good degree, you've got a job waiting, or a job that you can go and compete for. But at the moment, it's just like, why would I bother? So, you know, we can talk about all these things and we can go round and round and round.
Yeah.
And if you tell me, where's the first point of departure? For me, we've got to put money into education.
At the summit, and we are waiting to hear the outcomes of the interesting things you have discussed with us this morning.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sunrise will return momentarily with the home stretch, my partner's favorite part of the program.
Well, the home stretch this morning is different, and it is very different, but stay around.